Welcome in, Aggie fans. It is episode 2 of Cruisin with Coach. We are presented by the El Paso Las Cruces Chevy dealer. Sweet ride today from Bravo Chevrolet. We have a 2021 Chevy Silverado 2500. Adam Young joined by volleyball veteran head coach, the legend Mike Jordan, here today. I've interviewed you in a number of different settings, never before in a truck.
No, and when they told me this was going on in here, I was expecting James Corden, but...
Yes. You'll have to settle for me?
It's the only time I've ever been a little bit disappointed to see you.
You trust my driving skills, don't you?
Sure, let's get at it.
All right, so I want to talk about the history of your program and what you've been able to do, Coach, in 24 years, because it's been remarkable. I told you that before. When you look back at all the matches that you've had, is there one match that sticks out over the others because of the crowd, because of the high level of play, because of the win?
You know, there's a few, Adam. I think the first one probably was our first win against a ranked team, which was Santa Barbara way back in 2003. And the interesting part about that one was when I took over, we were in the Big West and Santa Barbara was in the Big West. Yeah. And Santa Barbara was always a top 10, top 15 team. And they beat us pretty soundly. And I think it was my first year, maybe second year, we were still known as the Roadrunners. The women's programs were still the Roadrunners. We went to Santa Barbara and they beat the daylights out of us. And as we were leaving the floor, our team passed by their team and one of their players sort of, sort of rudely said, "Meet me."
Yep.
And that always kind of stuck with me, you know. So you fast forward a few years to 03 and we're playing them in the Arizona tournament and we just beat the daylights out of them. And of course, whole new players, you know, the whole thing, but it was a little bit gratifying that the first win against a ranked opponent was against Santa Barbara. And there have been some others, you know, from a crowd standpoint, 7,000 people in the arena to watch us play Hawaii for the first time. And we lost in 5, we were up 2-0. And then obviously, you know, the win at Las Cruces the first time we beat them that ended their 10-year WAC winning streak, I think was a big deal too. That was a big crowd and another 5-setter. We seem to go 5 with them a lot. So those are pretty interesting and I think notable ones over the years.
Is there a player early on when you got this particular player, it kind of changed the program and helped you get to where you got to?
Yeah, there were a few. You know, Angela Lobendon was our first recruit, and her daughter is now playing for us, right? Which makes me old, but she really, you know, she was a great recruit for New Mexico State, and she could play now for this team, you know, and so we went from really bad to kind of mediocre in her time, but really made some adjustments, and she had a great attitude about her, the energy, the confidence that she developed, and that eventually translated onto a group of athletes that we recruited. Jackie Godber, Morgan Reeder, Sherry Hearn, Trin Cuseo, Stevie Adams, of course. And so those guys, I think, really took it to another level. And then that translated into maybe a couple better recruits like Kim Ogu and Amber Simpson and Jackie Choi and those. So we steadily got better. We were able to recruit a little bit better. I think it opened more doors for us to maybe possibly getting better athletes.
It's hard enough to win. It's harder to consistently win. And what you've done over your 24 years has been spectacular. Consistently winning every single year. Is it hard to meet those expectations every single year?
Yeah, it is. It's much harder than people realize. I think there's expectations we put on ourselves and the pressure we put on ourselves to win. You have to deal with the lack of resources and all these other things that make it difficult. And you know, you're playing against better competition sometimes too. You know, as we got better, we started scheduling tougher in the non-conference segment, and so to continue to win and continue to do well and get quality wins, I think that's a testament to the hard work and effort that all of us have put in, not just me.
This might be a really difficult question to answer, but if you had to pinpoint one, and I guess maybe 2 or 3 if you want to go more than one.
Sure.
A player who came in super raw, maybe you thought early on they probably won't develop into a consistent performer, but they eventually did and maybe surprised you. Can you pinpoint a couple over the years?
Kim Ogu, I think, you know, we loved her at level of athletic ability, but she she was a bad volleyball player. She had no skill level whatsoever, and really hadn't played a whole lot of volleyball. So it was a risk in a sense, but it was a risk we were willing to take. And she really embraced the training. She bought in, 100%. And she was also, I saw Saban last week talking about and butt players, and she was an and player. It was, she's elite athlete and she works really hard, and she's a great teammate, and she's positive, and she buys into everything you're teaching her, and she's a great student. Like those, when you get players like that, they take you to another level. And so what we didn't know about Kim going in was all those extra ands, and they were there. And she developed Amber Simpson, real quiet, unassuming, not a lot of confidence in herself as a player, and would constantly in our meetings, you say, Coach, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm good enough. And I said, Amber, we're going into the WAC, and you can dominate this league eventually if you continue to work hard and develop. And she did. And again, she's another and player, right? And she really came a long way. I was really impressed with her. I mean, I don't think anybody saw what she turned into, which was a dominant force on a big stage.
Lastly, Coach, before we drop you back off at your office, the fans, and you guys have a fan base, I think that some of those fans just follow Aggie volleyball, quite frankly. What does this fan base mean to you? Because you've had a lot of folks kind of stick around for the last 20 plus years. Yeah,
I can't tell you. I've met so many wonderful people through the years, and obviously, Las Cruces being a bit of a retirement community, so many of them are empty nesters, and they've embraced our program, and they come out and root for us, and they adopt our players kind of, and just wonderful people. And so many of them have passed on, in the 20 years I've been here, and they're replaced by others. And but we got this hardcore group that I love seeing all the time. And last year was very difficult on us because our players didn't get that interaction with them, and I didn't get to see them. And we had a great team with a lot of really good athletes that nobody got to see play, and that was frustrating. But to have the backing of so many wonderful people in the community, to see them over and over again and know that they embrace Aggie volleyball, that's a big deal, Adam. When I got to NMSU, a big crowd would be 300 people, maybe 400 for a UTEP UNM rival game, and like I said, a decade later, Hawaii comes to town and there's 7,000, and obviously you give Hawaii some credit for that, as being a big name and a nationally ranked program, and wonderful competitors that they are. But to see that transformation, that's a big deal.
Perfect timing, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Am I driving okay?
Absolutely.
Okay,
James Corden next time.
I appreciate it. That's volleyball head coach Mike Jordan. This has been Cruisin' with Coach, presented by the El Paso Las Cruces Chevy dealers. Riding today in a Chevy Silverado 2500 from Bravo Chevrolet.